that Anas, Flick, and Thomas H. This is why I brought up my point, because you do think they could go all the way.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the boys. I'm sticking with the boys. I think they will be hungry to finally
I just turned it on because I can't do viewing parties usually, but this is gonna be nice. Viewing party in
a good performance.
Party Royale.
Sitting in 8th for the moment, there's still hope for them.
Yep, and you know, I've gone with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. You know, these guys have fixed all their mistakes, it seems, and into yesterday, when
dude, this
Tayson,
team
said, as soon as we get
for this first game, because I think you'll only be able to watch. No, you'll be able to. It's at 11, right? You'll be able to watch.
Normally would. So if today we see them with large pop-offs, this is going to be them climbing up the leaderboards, potentially looking for that championship.
2 or
again.
3.
Yeah, Sancho looks like a genius because his pick is.
Keep an eye out for these 4 ZR
people. They can just
people.
stay there. Sancho's going to take it all today.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho S.
What's up, Sheikh Noor?
What
up, Lycan? Hello, Ajit. Hello, Lycan.
This is the finale of the finals, the last day of a multi-week event. Whether you're in Party Royale, on the couch, or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play.
Thank you, Shio. You've casted one of my tournaments. I appreciate you
This is going
a lot,
be
man.
Insane.
And don't you go anywhere because the action is already kicking off with our #1 place team being contested at Steamy.
What?
Going down on social media. Will it be Wolfie's actually here? No, it's actually Nexus Trio. This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million+ are on the line, and the championship is at stake. And here is our defending champions, Hen, Janice, and Chapix, already trading between Highcrest. It is a deja vu moment, the sequel to the fireworks that we saw in day 1. Shio, it's already picking up, baby. It is the FNCS EU.
That's what I don't understand. Why would you contest the #1 team, the team that's so consistent? You're going to contest their drop spot.
There's 12 games to play, and all 6, these guys fought over and over again. Highcrest either going down first or Hen this time.
No, you usually have an idea of where they drop because they drop there every time, you know?
With a top-tier trio who's won this POI over and over, just breathing down your neck, it seems absolutely impossible.
Here we go.
Oh my god, dude.
Moments. Looks like Indretta
you see the kill feed, the good doctor?
We'll keep an eye on
that's an NPC, just knocked him.
That is our #1 team already unknocked against them. Let's go ahead and focus back in here.
I know, like in 200 IQ.
On
FNCS viewing party with Archer.
So close getting
a
repeat championship.
Can you hear me okay?
We'll flip back and forth between those POIs now. The fight's actually breaking down.
Guys, can you hear Archer okay?
Refsguard seem to have wiped
if not, he'll insert it in his mouth.
The face of the Fortnite island just with a little bit of a consequence of Indretta getting knocked. It feels like Sancho just got a free buff points off spawn. There wasn't really any much contestation whatsoever. I think Savage might actually still be looking for the rest of the squad for the moment. They might be slightly split, looking at how things are going so far, but with this loadout, there should be no problems at all for Savage to wrap things up.
Oh my god, he got the peen.
This is what they were worried about going into day 2. They thought they will be contested. Usually Steamy Stacks in the EU region is historically heavily contested. Last season, Indretta Resguard with Scrab dealt with 2-3 trios at times contested in there. So there's no stranger to that. They expected it.
I don't know.
They bought review it and they were ready.
Are you kidding me?
Janice, Hit, and Chapix were ready for Highcrest once again. Vortex is going to be left alone right now, and they're going to actually go ahead and catch him out in the bush.
Are you going up and down?
It is the bush spray when you all got it in the back pocket. That's all you can do. And right now, you're looking at a 6-1 advantage right now going Hen's way. And anytime any team walks out of Craigie, they do really well. And when Hen's team walks out of Craigie, they get double-digit victory royales. That is the potential of the pop-off that they have here. But
they farm everything.
Pop-off potential for Thomas AC flicking on us. Day 2 is usually their day.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks. And if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too.
Oh, the top?
It could be big like Dirty, could be small,
better there?
like this junction sort of, POI where
Red
Rush,
is it better?
Exteriors are dropping
no, it's not as much. I like the...
They travel around the map.
Yeah, this one. The second one's better.
The basic rule for everyone, though, is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone,
which role were we in?
That fight. So we already saw it happen. The big names coming off of spawn unscathed, basically. And everyone else is, really amping up to have a very good first game. There's still 30 trios alive right now. The only 2
they aren't PC or console? What do you mean?
That was Screwy's trio, and then Highcrest's at Craggy Cliffs. Everyone else is going to be
most of them are
now,
PC.
looking for lots
I don't
of
think a
damage around the
single
map.
console player
that was our
qualified.
third place team.
I think in
Mysterios
NA,
with Red Rush
West,
and Mappy with the kind of an unexpected performance. Not anybody really had them. Red Rush, the FNCS squad champion, alongside with Mysterios and Mappy.
I think in NA West, one PlayStation 5 player
They were able to
qualified.
get a lot of placement points alongside with some valuable elims. But the thing that they have to work on is, can they continue that pace? They're pretty much playing out of body, like we mentioned yesterday, and that's pretty difficult to do in a high-stakes lobby like this one.
You're in my screen now.
Absolutely, and for this team on
I
screen,
just sat
and you
down
can see
right
the
away.
stat, the importance for these guys on the second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching today. For like Anas and Thomas HD, their day ones usually are kind of scraping by. They'll be in the top 10. Won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2 they really start
Archer will only watch.
Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games
with us. Then he has a game.
I'm not sure, looking at this lobby, if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map, how spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be looking at as well. The level of competition is so high, and for these guys on the top right to be able to perform, I mean, they're gonna have to pull out miracles from inside of them. Like, it is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're gonna have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of Zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone, so you have Hen Trio looking really solid.
I think it's going to pull up.
We already talked about Levin, talked about at the analyst desk. Nebs' trio has been
I think the worst
really
zone is
Craigie.
Coral.
If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, Game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations. I think 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement. They were taking out the likes of the Deals trio. So, hey, you got to watch out for Nebs, who kind of surprised everyone during the qualifier stage, being able to qualify out of Stealthy Stronghold. They're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like in Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, so sometimes it's good to get contested, because now they could just go ahead and post up. You don't have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems within day 1, this makes things alleviates just a little bit there.
The 2 teams that are dead are those that contested Craigie and
some
Steamy.
people who are dropping on the way outside to the map.
Oh my!
Dude.
Resort to just going inside cars. Sometimes though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get battered up while you drive around the map. The big thing about day 2 is just to make sure you're playing that first game very close to the chest. Sometimes we're watching EU yesterday. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, you know, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time, though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're going to start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it. Here's Pizza, Ardent, and Fast Roki. This trio is the most troublesome on this entire day and on the Fortnite map. Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position. They love the third-party fights. You can see it right now. They're bothering another trio, just trying to rotate. They have to make
I feel like this would be you.
Just to get by this river. This is crazy. Fast Roki Pizza, especially in the end game,
just like,
they love taking
just like
over,
wasting ammo just for no reason.
You're not wasting ammo, bro. You're making them waste mats.
They don't actually end up doing too much. They end up not having a game plan set in stone. So I hope they find a trio.
These guys, dude. This guy, the 4ZR Tayson. I think Tayson clutched a 1v3.
Pressure down on Tayson's trio.
Or a 1v2.
Because the car exploded. Bloomy's trio is kind of a trio that's coming from that west coast of Fort Crumpet. If you didn't watch yesterday, they've been doing solid work, considering they've been avoiding a lot of the kind of the scary trios coming out of that side of the map.
I think they usually wear the same skin so they can tell which people
did really well. They've been around the top 10. A lot of people expected them just to be Storm Surge tags for that side of the map. But they were able to get away, make some smart rotations, rotate early, like reset how important it can be. Now, when I was watching Tayson and 4ZR, they kind of play a little bit conservative. Even though they made it to in-game, they weren't really looking for eliminations. They were just looking for placement.
See, like, here's what I don't understand sometimes. So,
they do have
I get, like, some of the aspects of it.
Move up the leaderboard a little bit faster rather than just
it's like, okay, so you saw that team, right? No one was around. Like, they don't know that, but, like, ideally no one was around them by Boney's Hill, and then, like, that lower team was.
For day 2,
no one was around them.
End up coming first? Yeah, you got to hit these shots like Mappy is right now as well, but You have to start playing for
but
the
they
win,
didn't like
take some risks,
take that fight, you know, or pressure them,
trio.
or like get rid of
That's what
mats.
I was about to ask you,
I don't know if
Shayo.
they're just worried
Is
about the
it
third
just
party
about being
issue, but like
and
that's why I don't understand. I feel like
or is it about going for the
it's
win?
just about
And
placement
you
points,
answered it
but
right there.
I don't know why
gotta
people don't
go
get
for the win
elims.
because no
I
one's
think they need to
gonna give you
reward
the crown.
elims
You're
more
gonna have to
and make
take it from our
kills more
defending
points.
FNCS champions and hence trio.
Sometimes, depending on the zone, you never know exactly. You know, the game can give you that win. Yesterday, we saw the craziest things towards the south side. When I'm looking at the middle of the map, though, all these consistent type trios,
who is this guy?
When they're playing low ground, they end up winning out the games a little
Keeps
bit more.
ramming
It's
into
very
me.
difficult for Height to do much. You get bounce back zones. They don't have that much room to end up getting eliminations, and eliminations are also a big wave and name of the game. Take these two trios, for example, as well. Intro+, Squeezy on the bottom side, DKS, Gray, and Shakaz on top. Intro+, the guy on your screen right now, glorious, and no pun intended, at just playing these end games and having a position on Height. These guys controlled the game yesterday.
I like it.
So
I like
much
fighting.
from the 5th zone onwards, but then basically choked after that. You know, they could not hold on to that title spot, the big all the way up top high ground, and other teams rolled over them. Maybe they can clap back today. You have to make changes. That's what Wolfies is going for on your screen right now. Actually bullying Exteriors and Mappy, but maybe just looking for damage. They'll move on. You don't want to throw your game over just one mid-game fight. You want to survive for the whole entire time.
You're looking at what's happening, the adjustments already. Wolfies was 15-15, that yellow house. Games 1-2. They kind of split retail row against Kiko's
You guys,
trio.
do you have any
Now
questions about
rotating
competitive
early. We're
Fortnite and
seeing
like
the
what goes
retail
on in
row teams rotate early.
FNCS?
Scram
Feel
trio,
free
the
to
other
ask.
retail row is
Like this is
rotating
like
toward
a,
Lazy Lake. This
I
time,
think what was the prize pool for this Archer?
That
For
Cammy
EU, do you
split, and
remember?
that Cammy split
Like
right now is
300,000?
being held down by Red Rush's trio.
$300,000. So that's $100,000 per
Early game as
person
well in
for the
terms of
winning team.
how players want to, you know, go about their game. It's about defending your drop spot. Now towards mid game, you'll see this cool little graphic above the mini map on the right side. It says damage threshold 121 above for Deuce. This entire mechanic is called Storm Surge. So basically, when you're rolling in this game, there's so many players that end up staying alive. You want to give these guys a challenge and make sure the entire server is staying healthy as well. So 90 players will have to drop down to 70 for this entire player threshold, and that's decided by how much damage they do. So you basically have to deal damage or you get dealt damage by this purple lightning that comes down. You'll see it in a second. Deuce is ahead of it right now. Everyone after their drop spots is playing for
this is where it gets active.
Threshold. They'll look for damage. For Deuce, it was long range beams. Over here, it's box fights between 5 different trios. Kiko, last life on his squad. Dementos following closely behind them. This is a horror movie.
He's dead.
Forward.
He's
so
dead,
many
dude.
beams
2
from all spots.
HP.
There's an arrow in his elbow. This has to hurt. He's going down, and that's one trio taken out.
You know, sometimes you take arrows to the shin, but there's nothing like an arrow to the elbow. That's going to knock you down. That's going to take you out.
Thanks for asking. How are you?
But now Podesai one last MXR with back, like very last place right now. They have been very
did you see that, Archer?
They were going
did
down
he pre-fire through the metal?
In fact, game 5, they were kind of splitting some randomness.
Whoa.
Maybe they could come up and kind of shake up.
I didn't know that.
Because right now, they're affecting this rotation right here just by being here.
Hey, you're talking about randomness. What is this? This is, I'm counting like 7 different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fat Froky, the Interrupters, High Ground fighting Stompy right. Down below, Dementos is not stopping. Jamside is going down in the build.
Oh, man.
This is a crazy 6-way fight. ST's here too, making it off spawn for, I think, the first time I'm watching, and they're looking real good with this loadout.
Cages. How are you doing?
This is just a repeat of day 1. All the southern teams from Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, Caddy Corner, all being late on the rotations and all colliding as you're seeing Jamside getting eliminated by Podesai. This is what's happening the entire tournament. It looks like it's going to be a repeat in day 2. If any of these trios want to get better for the day in placement, they just have to avoid this kind of white line engagement that's happening right here, Shia.
Where did zone pull? Oh, it's not that far.
And this is game 7 out of the 12.
It's going to get crazy as the day goes on, too. These are teams playing
he whiffed.
Sniper inside Storm, eating some damage, looking for an angle.
Which
not
team?
Really find it,
Savage.
but some meat to eat, so it's all good.
And
on
NA
his
East,
end.
I want
Once
reverse.
Again, in terms of reading what's going on screen, it might be confusing. You know, there's health bars to watch. Once that threshold thing pops up on the right side as well, that's like an extra health bar to kind of show you guys how the trio's doing. If they're about 300, 400 damage above, it's really good. Anything below that, sometimes they could be in trouble. There's even more trios, though, still inside the storm. Hellfire.
I don't know who will win. I think
okay, never mind.
it just depends on
they're actually
who
in.
performs
Everyone's
today.
looking good.
After this first game,
so many people
you'll see.
playing side by side.
I think the underdogs are
like,
Forza, our team,
and all the way across.
Tyson or whatever.
A very nightmare type of rotation if the zone keeps pulling north, but also a nightmare start for Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy down already. Our third place team is out. That gives room for Forza, Tyson, and Nate to move up the board, and Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky right now. Like, you nailed it, man. They've been holding on to height. They will be at height. Like, about 4 out of the 6 games, they were on height, and they got it taken away from them. And only one of them, they were able to hold on and get a victory out. So expect this team to continuously to fight for height, to expend all their mats to hold on to height, do whatever that they can, because they're all in for that strategy. And when you go all in, you saw it already, they get down into shambles. But I'm expecting them to at least get 1 or 2 victory outs here today.
This is such a weird game, though. Yesterday, we were watching organized driving, basically. Everyone in their own lanes, way far away. They were, following traffic laws. This time, I'm watching bumper cars. I'm looking at trios just bouncing off of each other, shooting over and over again. No one is leaving space for anyone to walk by. Even Nate, so far away from his trio, is looking to affect this one. Trulex getting hard beamed. This is troublesome.
This is just what it means, that how much eliminations are. 2 points apiece, Shile. Expect people to go for more elims because they have to make up some ground to catch up to the top of the leaderboard.
The gold one?
Everyone's also just bunched up at the south side right now. There's a river all the way in between. Some elevation will be tricky to actually navigate. There is one big hill.
So Shake Nord, this is how it works. If you're everyone, so I'm gonna do this with, try and do this with Archer next season.
They're actually looking to take out people who might be drowning, and
you have to reach champion division
in just a second.
In arenas.
Jerky's already down, so
and then each week there's a qualifier.
They have to go by. Snazy and
the top 3 teams qualify. And there's 3 qualifiers.
It's like playing a game
then there's
the
semifinals, which dictates
and you have no
those teams that didn't qualify
your movement
in
speed
the
is slower
3 weeks.
As well. I don't know how they're gonna get out of this.
They have to fill out. They have 9
teams.
This
is going to be a ruthless rotation. All eyes to see who could be able to look at all the hard mats already expended here, because they have been box fighting. They have been trading blows here. The entire south side of the map here. Zone 4. Let's take a look at it. Yes. So many trios are on the south side here. The north side is still a little bit going to be troublesome, but not so much. And there's already a team right there in the orange in the middle of that map. They're going to have strong positioning. That is the high point of this section. But the river is available for rotations. On the top right of your screen, that is Squeeze's trio, who've had a rough start to their tournament run. Shifting down to Camp Cod, having trouble with Storm Surge.
Wait, your edit
not
keys
being able to get what they normally do. Let's see how they do here in day 2, making those adjustments.
Dude, I saw some guys edit key C.
No one's holding anything back. Stormy Red already going down. Two's Kiriachi, they need consistent games. The reason they're inside the top 10 right now is they're really good on placement. Just like all these teams you see on your screen, they're lacking eliminations. Janice and Chapix doing their classic, what we saw yesterday. Low ground mountainous rotation. Every time they end up doing this, the zone plays for them. I'm not sure if this is like a type of rain dance, but they get every zone when they're in this position. They look good while doing it, and they end up clutching games.
We already saw who's at height holding it. It is Vidil's trio who've made
those
game plan movements that they were talking about, those adjustments.
So,
they said on social media, we have a plan. We saw yesterday they were kind of just pushing everything.
If you had like the skills for it, would you be the one to contest high ground?
And now they have
or would you be the one that would just tarp low ground or mid?
Box fighting mentality for Storm Surge, and they're
play
just
that
gonna do
way
it from a distance. Wow, I'm impressed.
If I had the skills
with a crazy win in the first game as well.
No, if you had this, like, if you had all these guys'
really
skills,
these guys hot starters,
what would be your playstyle of your trio? Would you be the one that would want to be the low ground warriors, mid ground, or high ground?
On the day, and they ended at 16th.
If they could just chill out a bit, just don't use the nose, don't use the turbo, just kind of just ease off the gas just a little bit, coast, put that bad battle in post, and maybe they could just get on through. Because when they get to in game, they're dangerous. We have yet to see them perform.
Yeah,
in this
but most of the times,
Nate, similar type of circumstance. They just need to end up grabbing this game for themselves.
Like you see the same people contesting for high ground.
I'm
you know,
feeling a little bit of a survival vibe from this trio.
And like reverse, they're like a low ground
but
team.
At the same time, they have a max zone to rotate,
go low ground.
Let's hold off
or like Mega and Dubs are like extreme low ground. Like by low ground, like they're the bottom of the team, and they just break through those sometimes to get up because of the land.
And Floki into Sipto setting a trap. And Alex uses the river and goes by
for you
fast.
next season, you will win. I wish they could, dude. These guys are crazy.
Right above them is Bad Sniper with Andretta as a solo player. Refsgard and Savage down. How did this happen? This is your first place team now. Cumulatively over the 7 games. I know it just says 7 points right there, but that's just for day 2. The first place team has 1 person left. If Andretta goes down, their team stops getting placement, they might drop out of first. All eyes are on Andretta for this end game, and there's so many people looking to take him out.
What do you do? You're the last person.
Andretta has to go back to the time machine. He finished 24th in the World Cup solos, so he could kind of dip into the past, pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic here because his job is just all about getting placement as many points as possible.
Savage's team is going to drop off. Do you think Andretta's going to clutch placement? Oh my god, he stunk himself.
Oh no, well, this is the 3rd time I'm watching this happen. This happens, yes.
It happens.
Throwing these things close range, they're so lethal though. Look at Bubok's health just go down more and more. Now he's at 30, used to be at 100. He's going down to 20 as well. It's so hard to run away from those Stingfish, but once again, you use them in close range, they end up doing damage to you as well. This entire box too, this complex of builds has so many top trios, and making sure you met gets up. These guys are going all in on their HP. They're looking to just
if they have a console FNCS like they did in the other seasons, then it's possible.
All of our competition, the first moving has been revealed and is
I
going
feel like
back
it'd be
towards
good
Dirty Dots. This is going to be a very dirty, a very dangerous rotation. And Thomas AC and Austin Flick, we said that day 2 is their day. Are they going to be able to seize it and have that pop-off game, Shio?
Wow.
This is not only the most important day, but this has to be the most important game. The thing we've seen on EU, especially early, is people like to contest height. They like to interrupt Thomas, Flick, and Anas. But look how far this split goes. Thomas is back in an old zone a minute away. Anas and Flick are already all the way on the front side, building a new base. So these guys have real estate on all corners of the map. Janice, Hen, and Chapix, they're going down to on the backside of Storm.
Man.
This is absolutely
crazy,
ruthless.
dude.
People have to make it up a mountain, go down a mountain. It's tough. The hill's in the way. And Chapix is the last person alive on this squad to make the rotate.
Chapix is usually the tarper. He could navigate these builds. He could do those layer switches. He could just hold on as much as possible, but he cannot
get any attention of his way. Down at the ultimate goal with only 25 HP. This is the defending champion here who had the momentum leaving from day 1, walking away with the victory royale. He's going to do all that he can. Now they're in the second threshold placement. Andretta alive?
Second eye on high. Thomas AC, Anas and Flick here, putting some...
What?
Flick here, putting some pressure down below. They have the ammo. Look at the AR. They have all the options they can to put the pressure down on low ground.
I don't see Andretta. I think Savage
scared, but fear gets relieved as the zone actually bounces back. Everyone on middle and low ground, even the people getting struck by this purple lightning from Storm Surge, are safe and can breathe for the moment. Height will have to work overtime to try to break these builds and go for shots. Look how tough it is. Brick builds everywhere. Metal. Wow. Vidil, no rally. They're surviving on low. They get to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, even Andretta's alive. The first place team has one player. He takes out Sun in mid ground. Meanwhile, Thomas, Flick, and Anas are looking for anything right now. They only have 2 eliminations, Sancho. I've never seen them this, unaffected on the lobby. This is troublesome for them. They need to try to wrap up this game.
Yeah, but this is where they start cooking up there as they both get iRes and Andretta right there. This is where they start getting eliminations when the lobby starts getting really tight and congested right now. The most important thing is their builds are so low, so they're going to have to get closer. Already they're setting up someone with the heals. Thomas AC is holding on to some medkits here, so he is going to be that
highlight video
condition.
I haven't posted it yet, but we played FNCS.
And Badil and Reason are there on the
one
low
of the
ground,
weeks,
and they're going to clean up the Slayer here, and they get Etsy, and they get
we had a 55-man stacked lobby.
And Reason are here in the end game, and they have the potential to pop up even more, baby.
Low ground scrappy, high ground free. There's so many different types of scenes we're seeing so far in this game. One trio in the middle. Flick falls down, big fall damage. No O'Reilly in his box. He's in a pit of Vipers, and there's no chance he's going to survive. It's too venomous. Thomas HD and Anas have to do this as a duo. They've done it before, but at the same time, there's so many different players of high calibers down below.
With the zone going towards their backyard,
this is going to be the game
that could be the signature game that I was talking about in day 1.
Clan that's
they already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to let it go away here. Marvin with a phenomenal performance, the best performance they had today.
Now this is where zone starts to get so hard for the low ground trios. It's so tricky. Everything's kind of just getting claustrophobic. The walls are closing in. Zone's pushing people next to a big mountain. One last gets taken out. There's no harpoon here. Yes, Anas only has 7 builds, but it might be enough to last just 50 seconds. They have to connect to this build. They're beaming down. It's lasers from the sky, and not even a planet could survive this pressure. Right now, Marvin, he's working around the build. Somehow everyone's escaped. Thomas is going for the beams when Anas finds the first. They're still staying up. It's a patient game. Reason last alive, 2v1, and he could still do it. He has all the mats from the eliminated bodies below. We're going over a bridge. It's going to be a stalemate for about 30 seconds. If Anas and Thomas don't drop down, yeah, they're not going to. They're going to stay up, and Reason has some time to breathe.
What does Reason have in his inventory if he has enough builds just to hold out here? Reason, they had the day 1 victory royale, game 1 popped off huge. If Reason could clutch it, no!
Nice.
Anas is not so fast.
Nice.
Big elbow jump, but Reason claps back. Reason still can't he get the siphon? He does. If he can find Thomas HT, Reason could have the clutch. Oh,
he won.
What?
He won.
What? Are you kidding me?
Dude.
Reason gets the victory royale.
He had
How,
1 second.
Bro? How? Chio, are you kidding me?
Dude.
Thomas HD, 1 second off of the med kit. All
Dude,
the way
he had
on
1
high
second.
is what I basically see and how it looks like. Reason gets the siphon at the last millisecond of time as well. Wins out the game. This man, not even a troll under a bridge, a goat under a bridge.
He had 1 second left.
Unclutchable.
They both had 1 second left of their life. Dude.
What the heck am I watching?
Everyone is the same, I feel like.
Game. Wow, dude. Okay, listen. Reason got put in one of the most difficult situations you could be put in as a trio. You have 1 member left alive in those final few zones, and that member's thinking, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what? At this point, is it placement? Is it elims? He's like, you know what? Let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
We cannot have tier 1 teams messing up medkit timings in the end game. We saw Thomas hit the zone, and then as he started to pop the medkit, you saw him start to move a little bit afterwards. He'd already messed up to start with. This is like a clinical play that we have to have locked down. We've seen a lot of this actually on NA East, and then messing up the timings of it. We're actually really yet to see that, and that definitely was a bit of a choke, which allowed Reason just absolutely to pop off. And you notice he was live as a solo for a long time as well. Huge props to Reason for clutching that, but they did win game 1 yesterday. Will they manage to keep the steam going?
This is the story of last season's champions. Because you look
I'm
at
gonna be
the
right
last
back.
two teams there.
Guys, I'm gonna get some tea. I'm gonna get some chai. Be right back.
The second place team from last season. And if you actually remember back to last season, Reason had some phenomenal clutches back then as well. And he's back this season with just the clutch genes in his veins. How has he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did is. And, you know, we could be coming back in about 5 games and looking at that as being a defining moment in what turned their tournament around. That victory pushes them up the standings.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Even just being able to say, like, even if you just ended in 2nd place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least hit 2nd. Nope. Let me just 1v2 this other trio. No problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2 of the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots. Reese, at the very beginning of the show, I asked you if anything would be changed up. Did anything get changed up?
Minorly. Look, minor things changed up.
Okay.
But some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? If you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before, this team's been dropping here for a long time. But what's very important and very critical is the absolute sharpshooter eye that Kiriachi has. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The storm me down instantly.
That is insane. Look, we know what he can do with those kind of rifles in his hands. You know, similar things can be said in terms of Pizza Ardit for Strokey. These guys, day 1, we talked about how aggressive they were in terms of eliminations, how successful they were out of Misty. And to start off with, they were obviously known to be contested at Misty, but they've still remained fine. And it looks like they have the potential to maybe replicate what's happened yesterday, since it doesn't seem like they'll have too many problems there. Similar things could be said for Flickiness and Thomas. However, we just saw there at the end, you know, it's all going to well having your drop spot uncontested. You can't win the crucial 2v1. What does it all mean? Regardless, though, you take a look at the standings and things don't look too different yet, considering that Hen's trio and Refscar's trio did sort of go down before those sort of closing moments. But even with that being said, you can see Flickiness and Thomas up there in 3rd place now. 4ZR, Tayson and Nate sitting in 4th. Queasy, Trulex and Jerky sitting in 5th. You know what's funny, Reese, when I look at this? This is literally almost my top 5 prediction list, except for Hen, Janice, and Chapix. Like, all the teams we predicted to do well are performing right now.
Absolutely, and this has just gone even closer. Apart from, let's be real, Hen, Janice, Chapix pulling away a little bit with their eliminations off spawn that they got. That's obviously a good few points. And no, you know, Chapix clutched all the way up till 9th by himself there. So 2 moving zones he managed to make it through, which was really, really big for the team. That's why they started to kind of take that lead a little bit. Again, Andrea managed to do a similar thing, clutching up all the way
that's
to
what 12. I like.
So great
Find
from these guys.
wait, who's here still?
Team,
so I can direct
these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned, they're still middling, right? In that 7th till 8th and 8th.
It's just little rats.
In the end game again, so that's then move them up 2 slots as
so,
well.
Like, this is what I love about it.
Victory Royale, now Reason, Vidil, Noah Riley up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep that steam going.
Oh man, momentum, baby. We have it. We have more games here waiting for us. A lot of these trios are looking to shut down this top 3 because remember, it's top 3 that will auto-qual going into Chapter 2 Season 7. You know what time it is, Fortnite fam. We're getting right back aboard the battle bus. Make way, because Sancho West and Shywager coming through. They're your casters for the game once again. Let's kick it back their way.
This is what I love so much.
Game number 2 of day number 2, and I'm not even still over that first one, Sancho. If that's how things are going to go today, I am not ready.
Every game's end game can be so different just because of like the environment it's on. Like I don't think I've ever watched enough. Like I've watched a lot, but I have never seen
who are essentially getting 6 points
when it's like that situation,
and they could keep up that
like
pace,
over a bridge.
And Chapix getting that 9th place finish, they have an opportunity to just barely outpace
like just the
Indretta's
environment,
trio, who's been going really conservative. If you take a look at after Indretta's victory royale, that
now
trio
you know how
basically
intense
just
it was.
kind of just
dude,
averaged out the rest of the way. Low elims, decent placement, and if that continues to happen here in day 2, I think we'll see a back-to-back
what I still like, I feel like this game is so
the fact that they're getting,
like
you know, these
it can be annoying sometimes,
free,
but
basically. They're the only team to have multiple double-digit
what I give its hat off to is like every competitive game has that factor of like surprise because like I don't think I've ever watched like a zone that goes like over like a bridge, you know, and like a team is on that bridge and then there's one below. Like, you know what I mean? Like just like it's always just different for most of the time.
Access to so many chests. Hikers on the backside now.
And yeah, guys, like I've shown Archer like this tournaments from FNCS, like the qualifiers. I have to edit it and upload it, but
they go down early. If one person gets picked, I think that's the only way Hikers really has a chance here.
Correct.
But yeah, it was like a stacked lobby and just like the tarping and just now you know how it is from like an overview.
I'm calling it already though. Just looking at the state of Vortex's shields,
yeah, it does.
It's too late.
And,
if elims needed to happen, it needed to happen
experience
now.
Matters a lot. That's why I don't like when someone else IGLs.
The bow and arrow close range, but not going to be able to hit that type of shot. Hikers and Vortex are just desperate right now over these builds. They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapix's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment into making this big bridge, underground base, and goes back into another house. Chapix follows. Vortex has no idea where he is. They're refarming again.
The big thing that Hikers' trio is holding on to is they did have a
so
top
trios
10
is
finish
this intense
with about
because
7 or 8 elims.
It's about 4,500 mats per team, which is a lot of materials.
Have a big game themselves.
And look at the trick that Janice, Hen, and Chapix have done at this POI. They basically forced Vortex Knight and Hikers to go over to this left side. They used to have so much control. Janice staying back a little bit now has a chance for a big flank to actually corner these guys. They had complete control of the POI. Janice is going up, fighting 2 people by himself. It's Knight and Vortex. Chapix has to peek from down below. 5 builds left on Janice as well. He's going to try to run away, farm what he can as he moves inside a building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's gonna play sneaky like.
Guys, the quality's fine on stream, right? Because I'm not the one that's moving.
For Chapix and Hen on the other side to go all the way up. This is a back and forth, and it looks like they have the reads on Hikers' trio.
It really doesn't matter what weapons are in the inventory here in this engagement. We've seen a great makeshift shotgun get the job done. So you
What do
see
you think
that
of that
great
game?
makeshift
Would you
normally
like?
in anyone else's hands, you'd be like worried, but look at it. It's going to be fine. They're setting up. Shot. Break this down for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, too, it's not only a war of HP
Just
and
trying to see
loadouts,
how
it's
they
a war
play
of
it, man.
resources. Well,
It's very
Janice,
slow.
I believe, was on the backside.
But that's just the
and
end
used
game
all his mats
rotations
as
and
a
everything
solo.
in the fights.
When High Chris, Vortex, and Knight wanted
I
to
think that
respond to him,
one
all
thing you
three of
really
them
need
had
to
use their
learn,
mats to
and it'll
catch
help
up.
your
So
box
they basically, look
fighting
how many
thing
ramps are
when you're
invested over
getting
here
pushed
from all three players. They're
is
losing this war on resources.
the
Only
right
Janice
angle edit to
has
the top
basically
right.
used his mats right here. Chapix and Hen have been just farming up the whole time.
The right angle edit to the top right.
Like cerebrally,
Yeah, so the three right boxes.
Right now. At Steamy Stacks and Dreda, Savage,
You know how you have the boxes?
They had the early game fight. Slender got taken out immediately.
Like, yeah, so it's the top right corner or the top left corner edit.
Right now, it just looks like Knight
the triangle
is confused.
edit.
I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janice was out of builds. Now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources.
I can barely hear you, dude. Hold on.
There's so many to farm down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down to farm. As soon as they drop the farm, Janice will hear that. They'll go back up. Their position is so strong right now.
The triangle edit, so the top right corner or the top left corner, you know, where
all the way towards pristine point,
where you can just do a jump peek kind of tag.
Back around and got some big beams
because
in
you have
box fights. I do that.
This is
So like that is like one thing that like if you can master will help so much.
Going down in the feed, that's been a battle that's been going back and forth the entire time. With Saban having the upper advantage, but momentum is going to be the big factor going forward.
Yeah, and why is this happening? Why is it different from before? You know, the last game we saw Janice and Chapix go for an immediate fight, and it was scrappy. It's because of the psychology around it. Look at the zone on the left. They have zone at Craggy. They can really draw this out, and they've baited High Chris all day into this fight. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they've basically are living in their heads rent-free, Janice at least, and they're gonna go for this fight no matter what to try to win it. They're down 6-1 as well. Because of this is free surge tags for Janice. This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janice are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen a disengagement here in the tournament is Hen's trio went to Flopper Island to disengage, to regain a little bit of resources, to regain a little bit HP, and then they came back and wiped out Knight. The thing that's going to be different here is that Tripper's trio that usually rotates into that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams. And we saw Chapix get beamed from that area.
What's the team that died again?
For High Chris's trio,
because this team is still alive. Both the people in Crate are still alive.
What Sancho's calling for is basically the third party of a different team on this left hill that comes in. And Uguay 74, that's Chapix, by the way, was on high ground. He was in the position of this opposite team, Vortex, the night before. He got beamed hard. I think these guys have learned from that. They're now playing low. There's no chance that third party team can actually shoot them. So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can't. Meanwhile, on other sides of the map, Lazy Lake always active, especially with Bad Sniper Marvin and SC. They've actually moved towards the center of the map off the POI, chasing a fight. Bad Sniper.
So if you were there, how are you gonna make a move?
This one's getting real scrappy too. I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything back on day 10.
I just looked at it. I'm
Not
sorry.
at all. And Marvin's trio had their best finish in game 1 of this day here, which is 7 out of the 12. But this
maybe
is
just wait to ask me again. Sorry, I was not paying attention.
I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the South right here that's happened real. Every time we've already seen it in game 7. Now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already see Pizza, who's just able to be a little bit better because he's able to rotate. But now
honestly, they did everything right. The guy just messed up the mech kit
on the backside of this engagement down in Gorgeous Gorge.
He made a silly mistake, and that's what lost him the game.
Voluntarily go down to the gorge, let alone 3 teams to fight. So there's definitely something weird going on for their game strategies. Yeah.
I mean, you know, what ends up happening in the EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long-range Storm Surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces. The more confidence is happening, it's like, we could beat these guys. I could hear Levin saying it in my voice. We could beat these guys, and we could take it to them. And that's what I think what it is. More importantly, I said it in the previous game, Shayo, it comes down to elimination points being 2 points. You get that value out of that. We've already been seeing the 6 points that's been helping out Hen's trio, kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Revsguard's trio.
Why are you retracting your messages? It's okay.
It's that gorge is looking anything but gorgeous right now with all those teams in there and all the builds. While that happens,
gorge.
4CR, Nate, and Tayson, they've almost even taken height over Percival. Actually a misstep. First of all, goes down. Tayson misses a ramp, and now he has high ground. That was
Look at how much ammo, dude.
And now he's on the
he found
chase down.
300,
he found
400 ammo.
Absolutely beast controlled.
AR
This is
ammo.
about to drop him in the box too. He's missing edits. What's going on here? All the way around, he has an infantry rifle. That's not good close range. Has to throw over to the pump and then a big shot, but it's only green. He's gonna escape all the way and make sure he finds his way back to his team. Bloom took big shots. First of all, actually down. You're trying to go toe to toe with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. I get it. Bloom, Percival, Tomsy. They're also really good at these fights, but this is, you know, outclassed matchup right now. These guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind and try to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their pickaxes.
Damn.
And they get in basically unscathed. Tayson will be able to met kit up. Everything will look fine.
I can't believe they won that.
Masterclass of a mid-game fight there from 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down on the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further.
Archer, you know what you should do?
Bloomy and
That
Tayson's
symbol.
trio all tournament long,
that in your
competing
name.
for Central Zone and colliding.
There'll be a
and
sweat.
right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a third FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons Trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habits, and now the changes. You're seeing the changes. They're actually boxed up looking for Storm Surge tags of distance. They're not moving. They're not in the car. They're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess,
what maps are you? Oh, you don't know what maps you're gonna play today?
That chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
Which one do you guys hate the
Things
most?
up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right not gonna get beamed out of the air this time. He's looking good with peppers, but not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire low ground too. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The big Elam comes in, the siphon finish, and now he's looking for more. Gonna pick up Shadow all the way up top, get that clutch. Revive, very nice. This is also just a very, very messy fight.
Very messy. The fire actually knocked their teammate. That's what happens when everything gets set ablaze. Wakey's going to go ahead and bring back iDrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers. And you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. That is part of their game plan. They got a victory out by playing for height when the zone went down towards Holly Hedges Meadows, and they're blowing Storm Surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
600
Dangerous
above.
for Joe. This man is a walking llama right now. If he gets taken out,
normal loot.
Golden tactical shotgun. You're talking about the bigs. He has so many. He has 3 still after using one. Like, you do not want to go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they want to get down into that. They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways.
I think all the trollers finally left.
That temptation to get in there.
Stuff on both ends. People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every time a team went third party into a fight, didn't really come out with much and sometimes lost a teammate. So they're letting everyone just isolate and do their own thing. Like us, they're watching along and having a good time. Hope you guys are too.
Yeah, it's normal loot shit.
Crazy solo performances from Endon all across the season, and now he's looking to get into this fight close and personal as well. Some teams are still on that classic game plan of invade boxes, look for these aggressive tags, and most of them are also lower on the leaderboard. You were talking about it, Sancho. Elims are a dope way to make up, you know, some of the mistakes from yesterday.
Guys, I have
but at the same time, going for Elims, even in this spot, is so
I hope
risky.
You have your tea or coffee.
Now we're taking a look at the
Archer
rest
has
of the
Red Bull
board here.
inside
because he has
the
being
game.
pressured by Kirachi here, and look, this crazy. They're nowhere to be found. They've been not having this tournament run that we've all expected them this entire season. Has been just a more like a Hyde, or was it a Jekyll, you know, situation for them. They're just not the same French trio that we saw last season and the previous season before that. And Two's Kirachi, they have an opportunity to close out that chapter here and lobbied that trio. I'm just flabbergasted, sir. Flabbergasted.
Red Rush Exteriors, Mappy coming through the first game, not that consistent. Just 2 points in total on the day. They got to look to actually just, you know, make things up. When these center zones, I feel like that's where they struggle the most.
Archer,
it's so hard
needs
to stay
wings.
Invisible, be passive, go for beams. They're fighting.
You see how far they can hold that edit from?
Really find much. He's gonna build all the way up towards Kaiser.
1 box away.
Down a teammate. Meanwhile, now this entire server is just devolving into box fights left and right. Even your former first place trio is fighting your current first place trio. Hengen is Chapix, and 2 of them are down. These guys are leading the leaderboard over the cumulative 2 days. And their chances of getting points this game are running out. Flames ablaze around Chapix, and he's taking ticks over and over, down to 16 HP. There's nowhere for him to hide. Shots on all sides. Every single bullet you see go by is trouble for him. His builds are still burning. Chapix, be careful. Flicks on the other side, low HP.
Wait, what happened to their team?
Flames, not even affected. What is this?
Through the fire, and I don't think he's gonna ace finish. No way. Not this game, considering that the Lanoof as well. This is the team that kind of lands at risky reels, and look at that. Storm starts going down, and Thomas HD gets taken out, and Nas is left by himself, and Dreda is now pushing Slicks, and Lanoof is just trying to back up his teammate here, and Anas is in a big shamble situation here. Storm Surge still ticking through, and Savage is gonna look to clean that up. Yes, takes it up and cleans it up. Now he's gonna boost forward.
Remember, I used to show you videos of Savage.
Turned off, maybe.
Guy's crazy.
Just a moment. Yes, he could breathe for a moment.
Yeah, Nas, Thomas, and Flick, they were the last team that had
they just got one kill from
no
there.
search tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second, and Nas could still not find any damage and goes down as the last player for the threshold.
So I wonder why so many people are carrying the infantry. It's definitely for the damage, but
across, and Dreda is just shooting them with stink bows. No, that's actually another trio from the left side. Lanoof's having so much trouble moving in. Savage tries to relieve a little bit of pressure off from him because they're getting shot too. This is so tricky, and Zone is still moving.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the stink bow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the storm surge. They would get like a couple spaces in and turn and just rain down stink bows. He was basically crop dusting the entire lobby, man. It was just stinky. He was getting a lot of 5 HP tags all over the place.
It's quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really, really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage basing up with Dreda and Refsguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened last game, but Refs and Savage were basically taken out, and Dreda had to clutch. Chapix is still alive somewhere, it seems.
Which team are you supporting? I like Savage. I've always liked Savage.
Right here.
His just mechanics are crazy, so and I think they're second now.
It's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taken out by the storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Resguard and Dreda and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick, Anas, and Thomas HC we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at Zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster.
Such a rat. I had like 8 kills in main. Just sitting in main, just
Game
going
2
around.
On day 2, this is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game, but Dreda, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop. In terms of end game, this is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulix this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
Is this team on height?
4ZR, Nate, and
or no, the mountain, the hill?
3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and 4ZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting within striking distance of a championship. Nate, 4ZR last season, of course, on the road for redemption, didn't really make it into the grand finals. We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base.
Do you get why they have the ramps just like that?
will have chances to move no matter what happens.
I'm a bit ahead of you, I
There's
think.
trouble inside a little bit of those lower
the ramps up,
boxes,
like
lower
outwards.
Bases.
Yeah, how ahead are you?
Are going down left and right. Exterior's taking out Alpha, having trouble, and then taking
what's your
out
timer?
Riley as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Stacey brought back his teammates. Stacey
Hello,
brought
Pratyush.
back that
Pratyush
team.
says hi to you.
Wasn't he way out by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, it was a solo. I guess
Archer doesn't need to ignore.
Everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Okay, they're not.
Big Reaper
not over.
I'm watching
They were coming
on
from the
the
south
actual
side.
Fortnite.
They must be exactly where Riley is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation, and builds are burning at the same time.
Yeah, so do you understand why they had the ramps over the
have to go around. And Alex says, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst.
Yeah,
They'll actually end up playing out the full game. That's clutch from X Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Safik in Siberia haven't moved just yet. They have the longest and toughest rotation with a team beside them.
Let me go to the
They've been coming from Coral Castle, and for them to actually finish day one in round 15 place,
oh, we're about at the same place. I think the game is ahead.
Of Coral Castle. For the longest time in the FNCS, no trio has really found success. They found some success. Just to paint a picture, last season, Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out here. If Safik and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the Deal have become a height team. They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason
I would never heard
over 8 hours after sleeping learned patience? That's insane.
That's a
they really want to win. They want to come back. Remember, Sancho first,
yeah, they do.
And then down to 16th after 6 games. They're trying to climb
their
their way
events
back
and
up.
everything
They're
is really good
right now on the cumulative leaderboard.
Get some chai or something, Pratyush. You missed the crazy first game.
In their way, Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they'll try to do it once again.
Dude, it's so sketch building a fucking straight-ass car like that.
It's not free
that's
for them.
so
they have to get through
aggro
Riley
for
with
it,
Deal
too.
and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this?
Because it's also a waste of mats. Think of how.
Go ahead there, look for the chop. We've seen Trulix's trio.
Think of how many mats they burned through
in a phenomenal way by the Deal's trio themselves.
Even though they're trios,
they chopped them out and they
still
were
a
able
lot.
to take height and the Victory Royale. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, Child.
Oh, he got knocked. He just bowed him. He just bowed him.
Screwy from the backside.
And then there they go.
Moving over. This is huge for Trulex if he goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Queasy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulex. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory.
Look, he has 14 builds,
Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day one. Can they actually end up finishing the game?
They need to get like a knock or something.
They need the resources to hold on. Day one, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept loose, so they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andalix and Stacey, but they already lost the trio mate, so I don't know if they're going to take it here.
Total.
So that focus has to be down on the low ground.
5 more.
Savage and Dreda, Refsguard, they have an opportunity to get the victory out. The question is, they're down the soft match, so if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 victory out again.
Ooh, what a risky rotate. They go all the way in. No builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shot from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body. Fully eliminated. The master back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps. Can't do anything. Can't defend himself. Twos with the shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Refsguard finds him. They're both going to be together. Refsguard must have the builds. They're in old mats. It's looking good. Hasten down in the feed. Savage, Refsguard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
29
materials are
people
running
still.
low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is in second place. 4-0 and Tasted in 4th place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height pushes them down to the low ground. It's a very dangerous layer to be on. 4ZR with 3 eliminations. 12 HP knocks Mr. Savage. Stops that trio right in their tracks. 4ZR on the track for redemption here is barely alive, and he's gonna have to go to the medkit play and hopefully get someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. 4ZR keeps his chances alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy, though, on height. They're still alive, and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. Someone goes back zone. They don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking
archers ahead of me.
So far,
He's gonna have a natural reaction.
A very dangerous trio.
This is the beauty of the game. Yeah.
Audi alive, sniped down by the Noof. So many different teams down below that are so good.
Dude, you see this Devour Waste guy? Again, their team placed high.
And Jerky have a big task ahead of them.
That's gonna be big for them.
That might cost them a lot.
Still 5 teams.
It's sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulix has 2 floppers, 2 med kits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement Deceptos are still there. Waze is already going in for the med kit. He's coming in for the backside storm. Waze against Kiriachi gets knocked. And that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement. They don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement, hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from mistakes yesterday. They want to make
it's not as bad as the black one. I'm rooting for Savage.
Before and yesterday, 2 Trulex, Queasy,
and I agree, Jaren. I love FNCS.
2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex has the insurance. He has to go below. I think he might be the last one left here. One more flopper, and these guys are still in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They win it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs and see like, yeah, man, we had hype this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shayo.
Yeah, but 4ZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. It's uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we missed.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, high ground.
That wasn't
Kings.
as exciting, dude. That first game was crazy.
High ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's gonna be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're gonna show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true. For
Look at the guy there, right?
Reason to deal no Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game game. Take it high so early in that 5th zone. They've committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on high ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory house a lot of the time, and that was the real issue. You know, we know this is how they play.
Dude,
we look at Queasy and
have you ever heard Stormzy?
Throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high
British
ground.
Rapper?
This season, right, Jerky's been a spark for them. You saw Jerky when they were
this guy sounds exactly like
Germans
him.
down right now, Riley, they'll wipe them out. You know what I'm saying? And from there it was really great.
Alright, I'm gonna duck, dude. I gotta warm up.
Alright, man. Good luck, brother.
And they
Thanks
might
for
into contention,
hanging
guys.
out.
I'm calming down a bit, but
yeah, I'll be back after the match.
Alright.
Look, Barnett's taught us, right?
We can,
Anything
let's try and watch
possible.
at least the game 1 for NA.
How you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game.
What is it, NA East now?
NA East, no,
probably around when you come back.
Was a little bit of a flop.
It'll probably be like game 1.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to 1, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground.
Not gonna lie, I started following Fortnite after 2 years
here with
after watching
down
you play
below
it, and it has not changed a bit.
Low ground.
I
now, one of the things we want to
it,
keep an eye out is look, Thomas HC's just
look at
taken
this, look at this,
the zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit's inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice, again, after harvesting that, 2 builds. 2 builds remaining only. So this is all absolutely 0 here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Well, this allows reason on low ground not to be able to see him. But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets a Nas dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful because he has a right-hand peek on a Nas who is on the other side, and the Nas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP and the elimination goes through. And then we say playing on high ground with the med kit too far to the back with not enough time, and unfortunately he ends up being eliminated. But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Turn the audio a bit down.
Gut-wrench should finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Dretta and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit, and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here though is Queasy, Trulix, and Jureki shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNC's champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running though, because Refsguard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. Forzy, Artace, and Nate too. Look at the difference between first all the way down till third, and you can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say,
favorite part of this?
This is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy and his trio, I don't understand why people are just allowing them to be up there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now, and it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know it's game time. We're jumping back into the action. This is game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of this series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulix, Queasy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You gotta think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments, but so far, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are flipping that table, putting it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had high all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from
so we're halfway mark
with
now
just
with
normal
this game.
builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward, as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already, the save it battle versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. And when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here, Refsguard getting knocked in mid-air, this is where it gets dangerous, because as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in season 4 when Mongrel's trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Refsguard? And it looks like Elocrass and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indretta's trio.
They're hunting for Refsguard too. I don't think Indretta's going to be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hottie's trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far refs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map. I'd have to imagine that's either Retail Row or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between 2 ex-teammates as well. It's so, I would say, sad to watch, because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's fighting it out, or Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side. But as we look at Craggy, it might be a 2-man operation for this trio, although they're working really well to get to end game. There's always this clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games yesterday. We had Indretta in that last game survive as this trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end. And
I don't know, I just feel like
they're gonna have to clutch again as a
I guess
duo
I am
this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience.
I don't know how the audio balance
is showing
is,
what
but
patience could work out to.
It's pretty
being
loud,
consistent,
but
just
I guess
trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now.
Coral team
they're
is
averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid.
I think that I am
pace. And we are
influencing a lot of people, and I guess there are a lot of people that are coming in and watching Fortnite now.
Hold on.
Staying now, you know?
Every time they see a box
staying
fight, every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that
giving
is going
the
to
game
be like,
a chance.
do we box dive in? Do we go back?
I don't know what it
is. You know,
is.
habits are hard to break.
If it's the
you know what they say? It takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your
with a talk show too.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good so far. Meanwhile, though, Craggy Clips, it looks like and Janice Chapix actually end up going down starting off this game. It might be an
I know there are a lot
of
other streamers like there are a lot of other Fortnite streamers like the Cooksy guy or the Pixel guy. They get 50, 60 viewers, but those are the kids.
And Savage game
I know that
after
my
game.
people, my viewers are,
all the way down to 4th
and my
place.
family's mature.
Used to be up top near 1st. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex Knight. I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are going to be here, surviving for this game, and inhibiting Chapix and Janice from getting any points.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only one engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by Hen's trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation, and that's what it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here in day 2, and already we are already seeing like all Savage fans are Hikers fans right now, right? All the Hen fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all just hoping that the other can like drop spot fights go the opposite way, and wow, this is the FNCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of Hikers, Vortex, and Knight being in 30th, being inside an end game, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks, going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else.
Crazy.
This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold,
just
we're
like
talking about thousands of dollars.
Bills, man. I just look back and it's like just tarping and calling to your teammate
we're talking about a couple commas and zeros
what to do
every time
and where to go.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people
amazing.
Like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan and it's working.
Yeah.
For trios like Hikers,
each
like
game
Vortex
is different,
Knight,
but I just feel like it feels the
adrenaline. The first time they
adrenaline
get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
Even though they're ruining
it. And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot
of love on the
broadcast. But it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormy, they're there, right? They're there.
Yeah.
You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day 1. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it, though, and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And Nos is by himself too, walking around right now. But yeah, Kiriachi needs elims. They're doing it off the start of the day. Need to make sure they keep it up.
Mannequins coming alive is totally an 80s movie. And now we have no rhyme and reason. And Vidil is so interesting, though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to coast. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio, you know, taking out those legions of players. But I don't know who is this? Who is this
I just think that
I want to know who is this team.
I think this whole concept of it being it's sad that the game never grew.
These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get points, you're happy. They're just riding those emotions, and now the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're going to keep doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like their second week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit. Like, okay, maybe I'll stick with this new lifestyle, and at the same time I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat, and right now they're just holding on. You know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're leaning out because when they get lean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
जब मैं tournaments के लिए team ढूंढ रहा था, अब मेरा किस्मत ही खराब होता है कभी-कभार.
Other side of it, we're watching it. Ways actually in the distance. They also like fighting a lot, but patience sometimes comes at an offbeat, like a weird time. Sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive. They're still learning that type of game, and they're actually very similar, I would say, to Dylan O'Reilly and Reason when it comes to, you know, approaching mid and end game. But we'll see. They're kind of in the same spot. Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place, rolling into. They're looking really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know they're very consistent at just making games. 2/3 back-to-back from Nebs, Bubak, and Waze rolling through actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this show. They're looking real good. Meanwhile, Forza Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. You know, lots of doubts in the preseason, lots of doubts while we were watching them from qualifiers to heats. They fixed everything. And once again, they're surviving. I have their win condition just kind of written down, and we talked about it last game a little bit as well. It's also for the tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot. We said Savage. We're talking about Hen. It feels like, once again, Forza, Tayson, and Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to be that way. They need to make these flashy plays if they want to win this tournament.
They can do it.
Auxiliary used to be God
in the heat stage.
In this, man.
Yeah,
it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios, not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day. Slowly slipping out of the top 3. Right now, coming in 8th. Shio. It's just
like
right
how
now,
they put
their style is about playing center.
Royale,
so they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andrea Savage and Rescard now back in full force. They were able to get the reboot card and bring them back their trio mate. So that's looking good. It's slowing down though. So they may not have strong weapons, or they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive. Marine is now sending in the Sting Post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those stink bows just to open up a little bit. That's gonna give the signal for Refsguard and Jordan Savage to rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
Just game sense. I feel like, I don't know if you can
tell. Have extra health or something. They survived so many crazy situations. Refsguard going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of loadout. You're right, Sancho. It's kind of weak, but what does this mean for Refsguard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game. They're in first, Sancho.
Warzone में भी चलता था मेरा ज़्यादा callouts.
This mean Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough time, you know, kind of taking hold of this game. They're not screwing around to perfect. They're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for Forza, Nate, and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside and Alexa's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. These things are still being thrown in.
I know, like,
this is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and it's getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy and they had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios here. Queasy playing with Rasco and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snaze's trio, they're going to want this fight because they're low on Storm Surge. Because you come from Camp Cod, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
Shot idea.
Dude, so finding a way in these bases with 2 teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle, and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy Lake. Now it's down below at CamCon. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Roki on screen. They just make things crazy.
It's basically that's a third party, right?
8, 9, 10 minutes. 8 or 10 minutes. Two game mein mera
that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place. And Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they're seeing some opportunities to get some tags here on the Storm line edge. Red Rush in center. Zone is pushing them a little bit further. This is very going to be interesting in-game, Shio, if it goes down to Misty Meadows Lake. We see Zayko's trio already setting up an opportunity here. We've seen when it was here Lazy Lake yesterday, Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4. There was 3 different height retakes, and they lost it. And Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfie's getting eliminated. Elocraft is getting eliminated in the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio, it just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Yeah, Fast Roki down. The third-party trio not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake, but what it looks like right now is they're actually under Surge. This is going to be a very crucial pump shot map. He has to hit. Surge actually goes away. You can back up, my friend. No! At the last second, Surge stops 70 players. Mappy overstepped. The trio that clutched out this zone yesterday.
Yeah, dude,
is going to be one man down. Mappy is also most consistent in terms of surviving and being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is looking tough on day number 2 for Red Rush.
And that was a big refresher elimination right there for Indretta's trio, knowing that they had a reboot teammate. Now they could take his loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question mark for Red Rush. If you're going to play center, you're going to have to hit your tag. You're going to have to find people in your rotations. Because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door to collect that build.
This is actually tough, I feel like, for Savage, Jetta, and Refsguard. They like wide open low ground that doesn't really switch layers. Their lifeline for this entire tournament and their playstyle is low ground. If they don't have a consistent low ground type of terrain to play, they're going to be in trouble for games. Lazy, I feel like it's kind of like that with all the builds, the buildings, and the fact that it can go to the mountains and the river.
It's tough, dude.
You might be looking to play a little bit more mid. They're kind of trying to take it over from Red Rush, it looks like right now.
Dude.
And they know that, at a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but no. They're going to sit up, they're going to build up. They know that low ground might be a little bit tough. Actually, still trying to hunt down Red Rush and Exteriors. Not going to find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're going to have to switch up their playstyle. They're going to be aliens in terms of how they're playing. Very used, though, to being height. They're going to be in situations of bad players in other spots. And there it is. A Red Rush elimination comes in. Gonna have so many more materials as well to work with. Once again, though, it will be a very different game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where Zone 4 goes. Zone 4 is really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural buildings, the ones that are set here, and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR, who's made their way in from Sweaty Sands here on a very dead side rotation, considering that Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Indretta's trio has some work to do. There's a couple trios along their way, but Tayson's, 4ZR, and Nate don't have to do any work. But Shio, look at how much of the aquatic lake is eating up Zone 4, and we already seen when it comes to the FNCS wow. I cannot wait where this in-game goes. I mean, I'm trying to think what happened last season. There was Staten Island's reference that I remember. There was so much zaniness going down. It was
too crazy last season. And for 4ZR's true, it already looks like they have water in their lungs before they dive into the lake. They're down on HP. They're looking bad, pretty much like Waze right now on HP too. Has to dive into some minis and not a flop or a med kit. It's fine, but yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone. Sancho is absolutely correct. Once you're here, it's going to take you double the build to be able to survive. You have to build on the floor. And then every single opening there's going to be even more eyes looking at you. There's no buildings, no terrain in the way.
So that will say, Queasy's trio, known to take height. If they could take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk away with the Victory Royale and catch up to Refsguard and Jetta and Savage.
You know, it means a lot for me when you guys show up.
That's all it is right now. People trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Jetta and Refsguard for that to happen. No O'Reilly with dealing Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, both sniped again. They're looking to play defense and make sure all 3 are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Look at it, the waterfalls on the right. They're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box B, but they'll find a way.
Sounds like
Bad sniper on the receiving end. They're going to be really cornered down here. Esti, this is their home turf. They were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by no O'Reilly, Deal, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the tourists from Lazy Lake are coming in and kind of changing the neighborhood that they're known to. You know, people like the neighborhood was never the same. Everything's different now. I wish it was back in the old days, but those old days, everything's been upgraded and everything's been infiltrated by all the people that are moving on through and Waves right now. 22 below has some work to do to be able to survive right now. Nebs, Bubak, and Waves have been doing a fantastic time of being in the middle of the packet in game, just getting there, but barely one above, and so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're on the rope, Shio, and they have gray on their layer.
Yeah, what up, Sam?
Still have a chance to punch back and fight. Waves looking for any shots left and right. Neb's actually going down on the backside. Bubak will have to try to make amends for it, but zone's coming in, so they actually can't even get to the loot or the body. Waves looking on the right side. Wolfie's looking down bad on the bill. Switches to wood, back to metal. Wolfie's trying to go for it, and Dreda might have been knocked. Queasy also down to Zaiku. Everything is turning on its head, and it's not even rotating yet. It's not even closing in half and half. Hey, did these guys even reload? What is the mag size for Waves and Bubak? The shots are not stopping. Thunder down. Wolfie's low HP. They picked up another jam sites here now. The edge of the zone is just catastrophic for any team down below. Waves and Bubak are not holding anything back.
All the teams that were on that struggle southern rotation are now breathing a sigh of relief. And Reason O'Reilly, thank you. Get up there and show that Bloomy's now being taken over. That is a huge play. And Noah O'Reilly and Reason are back up into the sky, and they are soaring. They may be soaring to the top of the leaderboard here after this match. That was a big, just an alpha ramp right out to and Blue Trio. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah, Reason, and the deal going up to your door.
Man, I was about to talk about in a second when we went back to Bloomy, but I was going to say, they have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally God ramps. There's been multiple games. I think it was Trulex who God ramped them yesterday. They're on height. They get bow snipe or something. This time, Reason, Noah O'Reilly in the deal. I think they understood height wasn't being that active. Bloomy, you know, a little bit new to looking at how to actually play it. And boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 on Nate and Taysom, though. Once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. They're the only trio all the way on the backside, too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard, too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to clutch it up. 6 HP. It looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zones haven't even started. Every team is shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow, he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace.
Team जीती है, Ryzen का 5 kill हो गया और win भी हो गया इनका.
Nate, he's gonna have to turn into a Houdini to survive that max pull, because he's gonna have to go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Refs Garden, Dreda, and Savage.
So what
Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there. So that
what
run
you're seeing
is
here
over.
is they're pre-tarping. They have
get out of that trap.
So they'll
now
tarp
Refs Garden,
ahead.
Dreda, Savage, just
they'll
focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough Elans just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy. Let's stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah O'Reilly and the deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to. Noah O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason have a huge tarp they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get stuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. 4-0 down and Hen is gone. That's 3rd and 4th place down. There's a lot of room for people to move up.
Second place.
Jerky can't. 2nd place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Height is just punishing everyone. Trulex, you have to stay alive for this placement, my friend. Your tournament run might be at stake over here on the 3rd game of the 2nd day. He's looking to see what he does next. Zone actually does pull away. It's all over Trulex to hold on to spot number 2 right now. He's not going to be able to get the revive. Meanwhile, Vidil's still popping all the way up top on height. Joe Shadow moving down below. Refs Garden Savage is still ahead of zone.
ahead of zone and looking healthy. That's exactly where the position that there would be. Every time they find success at in-game, they're right then and there. And look at it. All the pressure's going down right now from Noah Riley and Vidil and Reason here. Trulix is on the backside. Trulix has to hold on. Trulix is in second place without any kind of HP to med back up to full health here. But now all eyes are on this new form trio. It feels like they're just changed their ways, being patient.
See, look,
let's go
they're
back
building.
into the great.
They have to build.
The deal.
To break
and
everything.
Reason now on high. Savage and Dread and Revsguard working through those buildings like you pointed out here. Just giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more placement points. And now we're in the top 10.
Oh, it's
this is
old
where low
builds.
ground kind of gets tricky. Cars in the way, buildings you can't really break through in time either.
No builds.
Savage, no builds, nothing to really reform in terms of trees. They split up a little bit of mats. Minis also dropped down. It's looking like a 3v3 between Revsguard and Dread Savage. Reason, Noah Riley, Vidil at the very end, but they still have to survive. Thomas HD alive as a solo. All the way on the backside.
Builds.
Indelex actually going down from up top. The server's getting squeezed right now. And Dread, Revsguard, Savage are waiting, and boom!
This is big.
Big shots coming through. Shadow, Joe, and Stompy kind of stuck on the left corner. Savage, though, is caught out. He was too far, and he goes down. It's up to Andretta and Revsguard to carry that torch to first place all the way. Meanwhile, Zyku taking that storm right from the backside. Low ground is a maze, a labyrinth, and you can't just hug the right wall. There's no solution to this. You have to react to everything going on in front of you. Noah Riley is getting close and personal, dropping for height, looking for box-to-box fights. Shakeoffs
Dude, they have 12 kills, 13 kills.
Noah Riley are the dogs are sending down there to get some big bites on the low ground. Dude. They're going up for some air and they're diving back into the mess that's on this low ground. Opportunity here for another victory royale. Stompy gets bopped. Here we go. This is it right here, Shio. It's a top 4 situation, and I'm just taking a look, and I believe Andretta is still holding on. This is going to be a big game for them, but if Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason could get some eliminations and the victory royale, they're going to be able to get into that top 3.
A slow burning game going to max brightness. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason are all still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. A majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big retake coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil gets clapped. Reason gets also completely brapped, but there it is. Fury gets taken down. Now Noah Riley is dropping to the floor. It looks like, yes, there is one team down below. Andretta still surviving as a duo. 2v2. We got another matchup to watch in just a sec. The zone's actually pulling up towards the hill. Noah Riley in advantage, but he's getting prepped to dive below. Taking a big breath of big shields before he hits that water. He goes straight down. No, not yet. Stink Bulls from Andretta. They have the Elan. Siphon comes through. Yes. Reason's up top with a med kit. Revsguard has the last tick of the zone. Reason eating the meat right now too. He's going straight for that drop down. It's not going to be enough for the heals to survive. Reason, Vidil, Noah Riley. Textbook game. That was absolutely crazy to watch.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total for that trio? Was that and the victory royale? I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're going to the moon.
No, they're going to a different galaxy. They're going to a different
17 kills in the win.
Man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, real man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is just not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Vidil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe. Reese and Levin, I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action, constant blows going back and forth.
Plus 34.
I don't know if my little baby heart can take it.
34 plus 30, 64-point game.
Like, this was incredible game from these guys. Record-breaking, actually, for FNCS Finals overall. 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. And we've called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off for the 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Look, last season, they looked like they were going to take the FNCS Championship going into that final game, and things didn't go their way. But now they are back with vengeance. They had the highest point game of yesterday. They have the highest point game of not just today, but ever in an FNCS Finals. Like, this is ridiculous stuff. These guys are going to shoot all the way up the standings. They came into this game in 10th. We'll see where they are when we get to it, but a phenomenal game from these guys.
Yeah, he's won a bunch of it.
And it's a very different game, right? When you can dethrone that #1 team going into the game, without Hengenis and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this like pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hengenis and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, right, or coming into yesterday, people were scared about this team here, High Chris Vortex, who are landing on them. And people said, if these guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn,
good Nigerian.
Moments before disaster. Screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in, you see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Chapix eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late, because you can see High Chris there is able to go and do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Janice. Janice here, he lands in this building, he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine and dandy. No, you have Vortex here, he has a primal shotgun, and he gets Janice down to 31 HP. What can Janice do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is like, this was the question we all had. Off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just 50-50, we know what Fortnite is sometimes. Fortnite, sometimes you land, you don't get the weapons you need, and you will just go down like this. If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back-to-back.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough. You know, we did see them lose a single game yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine. But they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this. And that is, like you said, the issue of a 50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being picked up, and that is the end of it for them. So you can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard, down until 7th. That's where they are right now. So they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game going forward. But some of these teams have been popping off.
Still Savage is first.
Holding on.
I know. It's so silly. Like, every single game, we see some ridiculous stuff happen, and yet they remain first place every single time. Phenomenal stuff for them. But look, No Riley, Reason, Vidil sitting in 4th place. They were 10th last time. That game, 3 victory royales so far. The most of any other team. Like, this is insane from these guys.
Yeah, it was disappointing that they had so many not so great games yesterday. Like, after their big victory royale, they really had the other 5 games that just weren't really anything. So today they are playing serious catch-up, but already with 3 games left, being 4th, if they keep playing the way that they're playing today, this is going to be an incredible finish.
I just feel like Sancho West, like, his prediction is just kind of echoing my mind. I just remember back before the final started, Sancho was like, guys, you know what? Calling in now, Savage's trio, game 12, they're going to clutch it up for the whole champion. No, apparently Sancho was just like, what he meant to say was, they're going to clutch up every game at all the times, at all the points in the competition. My goodness, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Fortnite fam, we hope you're enjoying all of the action. That's 3 games down. We only have 3 games to go. Now I know what you're thinking, Zeke. Let's get back aboard the battle bus. You're right. In just a little bit. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition during the break. So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shaw Wager, Sancho West, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going here from the FNCS.
What's the price? 300,000.
Just a second.
It depends on the area. I hope they do this for NA. I hope they do it for NA. I'll be up for NA. I think. NA is crazy, dude. The NA games, I watched the rerun for it this morning. It is crazy. That's the thing, guys. If you land contested every day, 6 games. Productions 2 days. So today's the last day, 2nd day. It's 6 games. So we finished game 3. So now we're on game 4. What time does NA East start? NA East in 2 hours. Oh no, NA East starts at 2 a.m. Oh no, 1 a.m. I can do 1 a.m. That's the thing. If you land contested, it's pretty tough to set up for the game. You know, I mean, FNCS is different. Like the finals are different, but like in an actual tournament, if you get contested, your whole. I mean, if the fight lasts way longer than expected, like they do in FNCS, your rest of your game is scuffed because you don't loot for ammo, you don't loot for this, you're focused on this other team pushing you. You're worried about them pushing you. Who will be in your trio in the NA East one? I honestly enjoy watching Booga, Clicks, and Bizzle, but they didn't qualify. I want reverse 2K. So Reverse Day and Miro. I just love Reverse. Reverse is such a crazy IGL, and they win like everything in NA East because they're so smart. And Reverse used to play with Ninja too. So Reverse, I want him to win. I think they're in second after yesterday. Second overall. They didn't win a game, but they were placed high. Consistently, it's the consistent teams that will win. Teams that are consistently placing high. I hope so. I hope they do, Pratyush. Seconds.
Welcome back to the European FNCS Finals. It's day number 2. We're on game number 10 of 12, and our previous FNCS champions on your screen right now, Hen, Janice, Chapix, finally allowed to play this game. They've been contesting off spawn 24/7, all 10 games. They've lost 2 so far. The last one we just watched, but this time, if you're watching during the break, that fight ended in what, 3 seconds, Sancho?
And more importantly, they've been chilling in their lobbies respectively for about 25 minutes or so. So we all know that game of time to kind of chill out for a little bit, reset. We've been saying countless times, when they get out of Craig Cliffs, they have the potential to win it all with a victory royale and double-digit eliminations. So now we're getting into it. We have 3 games left here of the FNCS EU before we crown either a defending champion or we crown a 3-time champion in Tayson, Nate, and Tayson's going to be that one right there. But the whole thing about this right now is what kind of games going forward do these trios need? And Jonah Rescard and Savage, they don't need anything special. They just got to hold on, keep getting to end game, trust the process. That's all they have to do. Now, for people like Badil, Noah Riley, and Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way
FNCS, man, just chilling.
They just have to now slow down just a little bit more. I just don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 16th place as well. They're a very flip-floppy team. Every time they win, Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2 have been attempting to be curse breakers today. On day number 1, in the first 6 games, they had so many good positions on height. They ended up getting taken over. It was tough. It was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsguard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-floppy. They have a win, 17th place. It's looking kind of weird. Everyone right now, this game matters so much. They have to be very consistent.
What's on the line is life-changing money. Hundreds and thousands of dollars for every single trio that we saw here are playing with that on their top of their minds. Every moment matters for them. Every build, every call out, every engagement's going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That 1.3 million total dollar prize pool when it comes to Europe. $300,000 for the trio who's rolling in first place. Squeezy, Chulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but once again, they cannot afford to make any mistakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape exactly how your entire tournament run looks. If you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby. Behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earned their spot. They're going against the Andalexes of the world. They're going up against an up-and-comer in Jules right now, getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now, we're talking about movement. Badil, Noah Riley, and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that moved them up their leaderboard, and look at their strategy. They've just totally changed. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of, you know, at Rose where we're watching like Unknown, and where all the question was what would Unknown look like in in-game? If Unknown down there in the NA, what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic energy, that be able to box fight anybody? He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in-game? Well, we're seeing right here a game that they just flip-flop everything, the script. They were getting like these 10 elim games, right? In the early game. Now they're getting those 10 elim games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
For Badil, Noah Riley, it only really is wins that are keeping them in this game. If they're not winning, they're having very, very, I would just say, middling performances throughout. It's like 11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day. It's not looking too good when you look at their team if they don't win games.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like, what will Wolfies look like in game? What will CRR look like in game? You know, what are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in game? And we're getting a taste of it. And we're just seeing that if you go do your homework, VOD review, they kind of tweeted out, we figure out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We are joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the 4th one of the day. So a lot of people have already moved off of their spots. They're rotating and the zone's coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, 4ZR and Lazy Lake, and we just started casting? No, this is all the way in a mid-game rotation, and their tags are looking a little bit low, but this is where they actually end up doing the damage. This is going to be a very good spot, but it's going to be shared alongside Fusion and Nexus down below. They love knocking on your walls, and then up top you have Scram, Putrick. We're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need to come back. Thomas HC, Flicken and Nos have to have that pop-off game. They've been denied 2 times in this FNCS tournament 2 times their signature pop-off game, holding on height, losing it at the very last moment. We saw the misplay, Thomas HD with the med kit here. Now, Reason, Noah Riley, the deal in trouble right now. Things are going to do. This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day 1, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down from making their movement. This is the 4th place team now battling. I'm taking a look at the board. They're facing the 9th place team.
Oh no, it's the whole service.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple Knights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on any walls to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides.
Yeah.
Ziptos on one. Not firing away from the backside all the way up top on the hill too. Nems move up on ways, as you mentioned, Sancho, not stopping the pressure. No Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They might just drop down to patterns. They won the last game. They might be going out early in this one.
This happened in game 2. Last time they got pinched, they were attacking Hen, and then all of a sudden, Floki's trio pinched them and wounded. They could solve what they did, the mistakes that they did last time. They could be able to keep pushing up their leaderboard. They did that by switching up a layer to staying away from that crazy low ground that's happening right there. But still, we have to keep an eye on them. That's what happened yesterday. All of a sudden, they just getting knocked down to a duo on that transition between early to mid game.
And now we see a Nos, Flick, Thomas, Hen, Janice, and Chapik on the same hill. No Riley, the deal right beside them as well. The top 3 from your last FNCS making a similar type rotation. It looks very similar to game 6 of last season as well. It's a slightly, the zone that's kind of central going towards the south. It could pull up the Steamy, who knows? But Nos, Flick, Thomas, we were talking about them a little bit before as well, Sancho, when we were looking at, how are things looking for them overall in these 12 games. Last season, after 9 games, they were looking a little bit worrisome as well. 4th place overall. They needed to come up and they got 2nd. They're now in 6th. They're looking for that climb up as well. We'll see if it's possible. Meanwhile, the big pressure from Bubak is too much to handle for Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They go down once again, and it feels like the pattern will be true for this team. It's always a win followed by an early knockout. Noah Riley is still once again hanging on the ropes. You can try to see if he survives and plays for a little bit of placement, but they're kind of deep in this game. Reboots are very difficult to kind of take away when you're so close to so many trios. It should be wrap-ups for that squad.
If there's a solo that you want in that trio, is Reason. Reason finished 7th place in Chapter 2, Season 3. So that is going to be interesting to see what Noah Riley can do as a solo. But Anas Flick and Thomas HD, who have a great day 2, have yet to have that. They're doing okay, but not by their standards. And now you're saying the Blasters, who just finally survived, save it down there in Leaping Woods, not make it into the middle game right there. But Ryan, Lanouf now have to deal with 2 of the Titans of the region ramping right over them, and they're not moving. They don't want any piece of this pie, but oh no! Chapix and Flick are colliding right here, and Chapix gets knocked. That's Hen. They're trying to move up the board, but Thomas HC is trying to catch them from their ankles so they can't climb any higher.
6th versus 7th. They're really, literally clawing at their ankles right now. Anas, Flick, Thomas HD, making sure there's no chance that they get any higher. They're going to keep moving forward, and this is going to be such a tricky rotation, Sancho. We've been looking at wide shots of this entire zone. There's so many trios that heat angles and locations. There's nowhere to really stop. Flick and Anas, Thomas HD have to keep going. They can't slow down.
And the ramification goes beyond just eliminations. Now that Janice is by himself, the solo champion here has to hold on as much as possible. I was going to say Chapix is that in-game leader. He kind of puts Hen close to him, but now Janice is feeling the lobby pressure, and it's just too much. Nos, Thomas HD, take him out.
They got the Elim. My question is, have they stolen the energy too? There's always one type of pop-off game that comes through with Flick and Nos, Thomas HD, and it usually happens when a top team goes down as well. This could be that game. We're on their kind of home territory on the right side of the map. We'll see if it's possible, but there's so many different trios, shoulder to shoulder, side by side. Savage, Repsguard, and Dreda are kind of gatekeepers here too. That's Thinkbo. Sancho, you were talking about it. It's rolling through.
Noah Riley gets an elimination, so Noah Riley is still on his feet, adding valuable points to the board here, especially now that we're seeing the top of the board a little bit in shambles right now at the moment. So Flick, Thomas, AC, and Nas, you're right. They're in their home turf here, We all know
Savage
when there's a game on the line and you are the home team, there's just a little bit more pressure considering that the zone sometimes won't favor you. And I think for the longest time, this is the first time we've seen an East Coast zone in this FNCS EU tournament.
I've played this exact
zone. It's very, very tough. Last time we were watching yesterday when Game 4 rolled in, it was Lazy Lake we were looking at. This time it's going to be Dirty Docks kind of, or at least the mountain where the grotto used to be. Savage and Jeddah Revstar trying to take away the life raft that was basically thrown to Anas, Thomas, HD, and Flick, trying to get them out of the top 10. They're saying, no, I'm going to deflate it. There's no way we're letting you sit in this base rent-free. You're going to have to pay a little bit of tolls with your HP pools. And yeah, those things really bled through these builds. You can see Anas's HP, it's still slightly low. Thomas was on at 40. He had to pop a med kit to get all the way back up. They have to make this rotation down too. All that healing lost them a lot of time. And now every single trio is looking at them. But because they move first, and now these guys are moving late, they have a lot of different builds to kind of block the sightlines. They can just reuse them over, save on their mats as well. This is a pretty good angle as long as they don't get shot.
And along their way of this rotation here, very treacherous. You see Savage right there in the distance. We've been seeing Savage just rain down those stink bows, getting those valuable Storm Surge tags that way. Triple, Elocrass right in the distance here. Shakos and Gray close to height, but I'm just guessing EMXRs at height, actually with Podosite. Very, very cool to see them again. Whoa. Welcome to the tournament. Now you see Jerky Trulix as well at height as well.
And if you look over at height for just a second too, that split is absolutely insane. You have, I think, MXR on one of the mountain peaks.
Yes.
And then Podosite and Walnuts on the very other one too, so they have so much control. Endelux popping off against Nate in the feed. That's a top 3 team getting affected by some people who are way, way down on the leaderboard as well. Now, Trulex, Undersurge, their entire team found some big tags. They're also looking okay for now, but in a desperate situation.
We're seeing what happens here when the FNCS on the line, former teammates could go back and forth here. Of course, Andelix and Nate being the duo champion. Now they're kind of go into this battle here. Now we're getting closer and closer to the end game. It's all determined where Zone 5 pulls. And hey, all you people that invested in this mountain real estate, you're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to move up north.
Absolutely, and every time there is a mountain inside these end games, it's always the top trios that end up suffering, who are pushing for that real estate, who get kind of trumped down and then don't actually have their builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, the top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground's a thing or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in Game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in Game 1 as well.
Team on the right
so
has free rotation.
On what you have to do to survive these big zones, the big height. It's going to be tricky. We're alongside Kuriaki, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early, as you already see Queasy's trio already making a stamp on height. No surprise here, but let's go back into the ground. Look at the gravity of the situation that Flick and Thomas HD and our Nas are facing. Now, Thomas HD and Flick have to go as a duo, Shio. This is not going to be easy because it is Savage and Dredda there at their front doorstep.
And Dredda actually gets hit by Flick's harpoon, so big shots and wow, pulled before the wall comes down. Siberia knocked down by Flick. That's a huge elimination for the points. Big for the mats too. This trio has been bleeding on low ground ever since Savage saw them. They haven't stopped the stinks. They haven't stopped the pressure. Sancho mentioned it. Their builds so low. Their teammate down. Anas, one of the clutch gods, not going to be there to see the end of the game. And their builds are on fire. Luckily, it's metal. It's not bleeding to the floor just yet. It is. And they have to go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates. Oh my goodness.
This is crazy.
This is not fine. Go uphill. This is not fine. Now the zone does pull their way, but they're going to have a tsunami of trios pushing right over them. And the one that's riding, surfing the top of that wave crest is Queasy's trio. They've already committed to this height here, but they have to go back and chop out who's holding it. And that was Podosite's trio, who late rotated through.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of height here. It might be just one more floor that's connecting, but no. A quick drop down. Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho. This is going to be a very tricky zone for all these low ground teams to play. I'm worried for Savage. We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mats. So up on height, Queasy is still trying for it. Here comes the big retake. Blocked by a floor. He has to waterfall down. MXR was hit, though, by
aggressive. This Trilix guy on high, dude. They're wasting so many mats.
It's a Floki on low, but it looks like Crazy, Trilix, and Jerky
so much mats.
Again, the retakers on EU. They might be the best in the world in doing it, but their mission's not done yet. Kiriachi wants a piece of the pie, and he's going to the sky.
Denied by Trulix, though. They have height. Time and time again, the theme for this trio is holding on height. They already have a victory royale, and they're right now in second place. But we all have to keep an eye on the low ground. Revsguard and Dread and Savage are still doing well, and when they're on their feet, they're not only going to get placement points, but the potential to rack up elims here. So the story is going to go back up to the height here as we focus on in. They've only had 3 eliminations, and they could hurry up. If they could get into the front, they could stop everybody that's trying to get to the front side of the storm and just get more and more eliminations. But look at how much this is so claustrophobic right now for Savage and Dread and Revsguard. Revsguard on the sliver of HP, and now Savage without shield is going to retreat back into the shadows and just hope that the storm just gives them a moment just to breathe a little bit longer. It is the first place on the line, and there is that big sigh of relief as Savage gets a huge siphon from Marine.
He has the HP, but didn't grab the match. Revsguard goes down right now. We're in the underworld.
Nice, oh my god,
he takes down Void. And
oh
on the
my
backside, but he's inside zone, getting tickled in the back, but it doesn't feel good right now. Savage down, and then a clap.
So
the entire trio's taken out. The bottom side of the zone has been invaded by the high and mid-ground teams. Queasy and Trulex, we didn't forget about you. Let's wrap up this game.
In a blink of an eye, they had low eliminations, but now look, they have 8 eliminations, and they're gonna get another one. 148 elo crats. You got greeted by the big shots right here, walking out of Storm, and now Queasy's just gonna get enough of the little builds. It's a top 3 situation.
The 25 HP Rock Shot Queasy, what a big strategy right there to get that elimination. After that, more elims and siphons come through. 2-man situation on height right now, but they're at the advantage. It's a 2v1. Snazy is back and looking to try to clutch this from low. He has lots of builds to work with, but the pinch is too strong from the height god team. Retakes, pressure, and strategy you can't expect. Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are amazing at this game.
13 eliminations and the victory royale. The adjustments are ringing true, and we're seeing what height is doing in this meta. Last season, it was the low ground teams is getting these high number of eliminations and the victory royale, but we're seeing that the air is a little bit cleaner on height. They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Crazy's trio, Shio.
Yeah, and that was just such a strange game for all the low teams. It was so tough to play. Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Guys, I said it a couple games ago. These guys are the high ground kings, okay? I don't understand. They're not even in high ground, okay? It's like, all right, this is it, the tail of the competition. They're like, oh yeah, look, there's a trio above us, no problem, yeah. The moment they start to move, that's it. Queasy, he's up there. Kiriachi was like, oh yeah, I'd like high ground. That seems like a good idea. No, Queasy was like, no, here's 1 floor. Stop, don't move. And they were like, all right, sounds good, man. You got it, whatever. I don't understand, Reese. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how.
It was the chop play that really did it for them. Obviously, they saw they weren't on that 5th zone. They chopped it out. They managed to just get it from there. And like you said, you know, we did see Kiriachi's team going for that. But you noticed that I'm pretty sure Trulix had peppers at that time because he flew ahead. If not, he was just ahead of the game, flew up to Kai from there. But one of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3-4 elims, pretty much none coming to movement. I think there was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long it feels like Savage's trio has been above. But looking at these guys, man, all season long, when we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, you know, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've like done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Like before that sort of run they started to have, it was always Queasy's the most unlucky player, always having hardware issues, never able to play out a tournament fully due to some issues. And now that they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games left to go, so I want to kind of turn our attention to teams 4, 5, and 6 coming into this last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do to look and strike that #1 spot?
I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent to remain at this point, right? All of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while. You know, you look at Stormy, right, Kyriachin, Fuse. It's weird. I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory royale, right? They are still lacking that victory royale to sort of solidify themselves, and so maybe that's what they need to push themselves into contention.
Yeah, and you know, you said no critiques, and I totally agree with you on their team. They're really, really consistent, but just not managing to have those big games that they need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was the game where they didn't quite manage to pick up the victory round, game 1 today. So, you know, they were down kind of that 5th to 6th range, and you know, for these guys, they obviously want first, but I think top 3 is really where they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and Reason O'Reilly Vidal went down in 21st that game. Right, so they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they have dropped down to 5th. But look at who's taking over.
First.
Just 5 points in it, guys. 5 points in it. Queasy, Trilix, and Druki are now at the top of the standings. 3 victory royales, joining Norani, Reason, and Vidal in that 3 group. Like, this is some crazy stuff.
This is actually really insane, because I think this is the first time today that we've seen Resguard and Dret and Savage lose the first place slot. So, right, this is the first time they've gone down, but again, only 5 points between it. And man, if you look at this, you see Queasy, Trulex, and Jurki all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, 5th zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place becomes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want an auto-qual spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. They had that 1 victory yesterday, not been able to do much outside of that. I think a big disappointment here is Red Rush, Exteriors, and Mappy, who came into today in what, 2nd place or something?
They're 3rd,
you know, 3rd place, and now they're sitting in 12th, right? Things have really fallen off for them. They need to sort of pick things up. And Floki, Clement, and the Sipsos, to me, right, they're what, the 2nd best team today. If you were just getting the standings from today, they've been like a top 3 team today. But because of their failings from yesterday, it is still an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, yesterday is a day that they probably won't want to talk about too much, to be honest. But, you know, we have to when you look into the cumulative scores. And, you know, them in 14th right now, definitely, that's still a huge achievement. But these guys were looking for a top 3 finish, let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here. You know, Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits.
I feel like
you've got to think that Flois, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pull off a huge amount.
For them,
yes,
we're
currently
all
in 20th, right? They're not in there. But again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights, and the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So
a little bit.
Not bad. Yeah.
Oh man, boys, we only have 2 games left to go. It is a battle between 1st and 2nd place. How is this all going to go? How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats, Fortnite fam. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho with Shy Wager. Back over to you, friends.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. 2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $1 million prize pool is at stake. Now, Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky. The only thing that concerns me is this split that they have. We saw in the qualifier stage numerous times somebody random just hiding and waiting out where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory. And look, bad sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment. looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Intro+Channel is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, you know, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Intro+Channel to make sure no one's flying in. He always ends up landing early because this kind of generator building is on the upside, a higher point of landing. So everyone else on their team, Queasy and Jerky, they end up going a lot lower. They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Intro+Channel will be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feed to Nikov. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, Noah Riley, Vidil, Reason. I mean, this has to be the game to watch for them. Every time they have a good game, it's followed by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a first place, at least today. So patterns are correct. They could win this game and have a big showing. Meanwhile, at Craggy Cliffs, 11th game, Sancho, the fights don't stop.
This is going to be monumental for Chapix and Hidden Janice. They have to walk away from Craggy Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up. Right now, they slipped down one spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Chris, Vortex, Knight, the thorn on our champion side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, you know, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 EU finals had 3 victory royales, and we had 2 trios in this tournament here from Badil and Jerky's trio having already accomplished that. But there's still 2 more games left. We'll all have eyes on these engagements and, of course, our elimination feed.
See, look, they waste so much time.
Man, the slow burn type of game just kind of ruins the game plan for Chapix, Janice, and Hen. They like having control of the map as well as fighting this kind of big battle off spawn. It's going to be tough, Sancho. We're talking about they need this game is because they're in 8th place rolling in, about 90 points away from first place. They definitely need a double-digit elim win to catch up for the win. In terms of catching up, you know, to top 3, they're about 30-ish points away. So once again, a game of a difference. They're going to disengage. Haven't seen this happen today yet. It did happen yesterday. They go for the fish. They're going to be looking good so far. Going to have less loot, though, overall, and be bad on time. The last time they disengaged, I believe they had a little bit of a closer zone. This time, we're going towards what looks like Holly or Slurpee. It's going to be rough for them on rotate. They have to do this fast. And already, I feel like Podesire MXR from Stealthy Stronghold is already on this island.
Thanks for
my apologies, Booback actually, who's landing over at Stealthy, and he's on this island. He's already fished up a little bit. I think Janice and Chapix know on the top right POV. They might hunt him down, but he's already leaving the island. And look at Chris in the water, the yellow arrows on the map. We're at Slurpee right now, but they're chasing down our previous FNCS champions. They're not letting them get away for free.
We're here at Slurpee to keep tabs on the 4th place team of Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos, the team that have just been having a really solid run, free rotations. Usually when you have Slurp Factory contested here, and now going up against that is Shadow's trio there, who are doing that Shantytown split. Now we have eyes here on the 2nd place team, who have been holding on to 1st place throughout the entire tournament, and they've just been kind of just putting in kind of like a points, like a really solid, you know what I mean? But when you have the teams that have been putting in some astronomical numbers, some huge performances like Badil and Queasy, who has just been just as consistent, but you're just seeing the 2 clashes of meta style, right? The high ground and the low ground. And right now, the high ground is just winning it out. And they have the advantage, but it's only by 5 points. So look at the gold number. Right now, that is just in this session. 118. On the other side, Queasy is at 136. So, if Refsguard's trio could get those 5 points, they automatically close the gap in the cumulative
I'd like to watch the whole thing, but...
Absolute 5-point difference at the same time here is the catch-up. We're fighting this fight on a brand new map. It looks like usually Craggy Cliffs. Now we're on that Flopper Island. Chapix, Janice, and Hen have all the high points, but Chris has actually made a little bit of a base on the right side. Gonna be looking for a shot, but he's playing it sneaky. They're not letting these guys extend these builds whatsoever because they might be able to find Chris on his spot. Very smart from Vortex. As he does that, though, gets bopped. Low on shields. Janice down below 2, and he's almost down with no HP.
What a great adjustment from Chris trio. Last time they let this trio disengage to Flopper Island. This time they decided to take the fight to them right on the island.
Exactly. This is going to be the wrap up of the tournament as well. There's no point really for this trio to roll in and disengage. They're going to keep chasing down, but Chapix stops their chase at least a little bit. Knight's 1 HP too. If he drops down and sees him with a quick flick, he can end his big run too. He's gonna stay sneaky. Meanwhile, because of this, there'll be relief of pressure for Janus to get revived back up. A medkit in play too. They're gonna be looking fine for now. Once again, though, Sancho, zone is not here, and these guys are already running through their med